stream configurations, streaming. Okay. Let's double check that it's still live. If it wants to load. Boy, is my connection being super slow today? Oh, it might be. Man, nothing else running.
I don't know. I'm halfway convinced I have like a squirrel living in our space above our upstairs rooms. It's like chewing through old wires.
Oh, those squirrels.
I didn't hate squirrels till I owned a house.
Yep. Now squirrels and raccoons are the devil.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have raccoon problems. They're a bit more violent, I think.
Yeah. And they love trash.
Yes.
Alright,
well,
we are live. Okay. I am ready to start the show if you are.
I got my list.
Where did
yeah.
chat go? Chat?
Everything's up. I'm in chat. So.
Alright, I've got chat too. We got anybody watching? Just us. Okay. Alright, let's start here in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Musum.
Hello.
And I don't think we have any announcements right now. Oh, actually, we'll probably be talking about it a little bit later, but over on TVGP, we do a little TVGP game club every month. We go back and we play through a classic game, and try and enjoy things that are either hidden gems or stuff that people never got around to playing. And this month is a really, really great hidden gem RPG, and that is Alpha Protocol. So if you've ever been interested in playing almost the very definition of a hidden gem, go on over to the forums over on tvgp.tv and go check that out. I think we've both been playing it, so we'll probably be talking about it here shortly, but you should definitely go check it out and give it a shot.
Yeah, and definitely check the forums too, because there are a lot of starting tips that you'll need that
yeah.
The first 2 or 3 times I attempted to play the game, I did not look up and regretted that.
yeah, the game can be a little bit challenging, but both myself and Nintendo posted a lot of really good starting tips in there, so go check those out. But let's talk about what you've been playing, Musum.
Okay, so to start out, Boston, we have to have a very important conversation, because you're on Raptor and you do TVGP, so I can stalk what games you've been playing.
Absolutely.
And I know, I'm 90% sure, I haven't checked in the last day or two, that you have not played Mass Effect 3 The Citadel yet.
I have not, no.
Why have you not listened to the internet and played this game?
So, I actually have a really good reason.
Okay.
My girlfriend had never played the Mass Effect trilogy and really wanted to play them, but was getting really turned off on the, let's be generous and call it the bad gameplay of the first game. So I had said, well, I want to play through Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 again, especially with a lot of DLC coming out in 3 that I haven't played yet. So we just shelved it for a while, and I haven't gotten back into... The beginning of Mass Effect 1 is kind of rough. And I'm at the part where they sort of...
The beginning.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm at that part where they sort of turn you loose on the Citadel at the beginning, where they say, well, like, investigate the Shadow Broker, and this courtesan, and this other person, and 20 people have problems. And I was just like... Both of us were just like, oh, God, that's right.
Yeah.
So at some point, I think I'll power through the rest of that stuff. But I'm sort of looking forward to playing Mass Effect 3 again with all that DLC now, because I never played the director's cut ending or anything. So like I'm sort of looking forward to going back through the whole game and just kind of biting off all those little additional nuggets they've added.
Okay. Well, I played the Citadel, and I think it will ruin the pacing of the third game, because it makes... I mean, you're very active in the community, so you know, but like the game starts out with Anderson on Earth commanding you to take Shorely while the Normandy goes on repairs.
Okay.
And just outright gives you his apartment.
Right.
And craziness ensues. Like, the story in it is equal parts clever and stupid.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a big party you throw at the end that is just absolutely fun, and it's
Yeah.
this DLC is so upbeat and so much fun, and so many ridiculous things happen in it that it's entirely worth whatever $15 or $20 price tag it has, and it doesn't fit the mood of the third game whatsoever.
Sure.
So it's kind of the perfect DLC to go back to, just load up your last save on the third game and just launch it.
Yeah.
It makes sense there just as well as anywhere else. But
It sounds like it's a lot of fan service.
it's it is, but at the same time, it's also like if they had made the third game like this DLC flavor, there would have been no complaints or gripes. But I mean,
Right.
I realized they had to adhere to their mythology of their story and
Oh,
kind of
sure.
go with the giant threat. But this is
Yeah.
just having a game with just Shepard palling around, making jokes with all the characters from most of the series
Yeah,
is
while
wonderful.
he or she is throwing a party.
And the party's so good. Like as you go through, I'm not going to spoil anything from this, especially any of the jokes or events, but it is worthwhile before you throw the party to make a save game that you can go back to later. So don't rely on like quick save or auto save.
Right.
And throw the wild party and then throw the passive party.
Okay.
But you need both Krogan in for the passive party, and like the party goes in 3 phases, and you have an option to move time along.
Mm-hmm.
The first phase is relatively the same both times. The second and third phases are massively different. Different people get drunk. Different things occur. I experimented with some, because there's an invite list, and you can decide who comes, and I experimented with that a little bit, but I couldn't get any interesting results. But
Right.
talking with Joey at the carousel, he had, like, I don't know how that dude played it. Like, we actually recorded a spoiler cast on it, come to think of it. You can go over to the carousel and listen to it. But he had so many characters die in his playthrough of the Mass
jeez.
Effect games. Like, he had completely different things happen at the party for the Citadel, and
Oh,
I went
wow.
through the party literally like 3 or 4 times. So it blows my mind that there's that much content to it.
Yeah, I'm sort of surprised.
But it's amazing. It's wonderful. It's the flavor you want in your mouth as you leave the Mass Effect franchise.
Yeah.
Can't recommend it enough. I also played the Omega DLC.
Oh yeah.
It was okay. It didn't feel necessary, but it had some good storytelling. You got
Like
a lot of
cool
insight into
side
Arya's
story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd put it in the same vein as like in Mass Effect 2, I think Overlord was the name of it, where you go to that
Yeah.
area and it's kind of like that. You don't drive around or anything, but it's probably about a similar length.
Yeah.
It's a good probably 4 or 5 hours. You get some good characters, good character development, but overall it has no impact on anything else. And
Sure.
you don't get your crew with you. You just get this new crew.
Yeah, it's not like the Lair of the Shadow Broker from 2, where it's like, wow, this actually is really going to affect Mass Effect 3, or whatever the last one was in Mass
Yeah.
Effect 2 as well.
Well, yeah, Shadow Broker and Arrival.
Arrival, yeah.
I had issues with Arrival, but it was mainly just I'm playing an infiltrator. I don't like.
Yeah.
They throw you into a room and they're like, defend this person, and I'm like, I have a sniper
I can't.
rifle.
Yeah, this is not how I play it. I play that same class too, and it threw me in that room, and I was like, I can't do what you want me to do. I don't know how
Yeah.
to do this.
It was pretty frustrating.
Yeah,
And it's, I don't know. It really, well, I guess I'm rehashing some of what me and Joey talked about, but like Arrival, I really felt like looking back, it really sets up on what to expect from Mass Effect 3 as far as like how the narrative's going to progress.
yeah,
And looking back, I really wish I had taken that to heart instead of hoping it would be different.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't. Omega's not necessary, but in my opinion, the absolute necessary DLCs for Mass Effect are the Citadel
Mm-hmm.
and Into Ashes. Is that what it's called? Yavek's one.
Yeah, that one. If anybody's playing Mass Effect 3, even if you don't use Javik or whatever his name is in your party, you need that Into Ashes DLC.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I've read that. What is it? The final hours of Mass Effect 3,
Yeah.
and it was. You could argue that it was cut content from the game because
Sure.
midway through the development, they decided that they didn't have time to do it.
Right.
But let's see. So moving on. After playing the Citadel, I'm like, I really want to experience this with my female Shepard,
Yeah.
and went back into Mass Effect 2 to move that along, and played through Morden's loyalty mission.
Oh yeah.
Still a really good mission. It's kind of weird because it's the first half of it's all combat, and the second half is you kind of having moral arguments with Morden.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it's always that's also one of those weird areas, and that's I guess just one of the faults of the franchise of Mass Effect is you're never entirely sure what Shepard's going to say when you choose an option.
Yeah.
And that's one of those areas where like you'll pick the Paragon and he kind of bitches Morden out, and you're like, well, I didn't
Yeah, it's
really
like,
want to
that
lay
doesn't-
into him like that.
I'm sure we'll talk about Alpha Protocol in a little bit, but that's sort of the positive thing about Alpha Protocol, where if you pick an aggressive, you get emotions more than you get a decision. So if it's aggressive, then yeah, I expect him to really yell at someone. Or if you get sarcastic, then you can be like, oh yeah, great idea. But if you sometimes in Mass Effect you pick Paragon and Shepard's like, oh yeah, you're brilliant. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, wait, what? That's not. I didn't pick that.
Yeah. Man, I like the surprise of not knowing the conversation, but at the same time, I really wish they would just at least give me the first entire sentence of what he's going to say.
Because I mean, I can understand from BioWare's standpoint that they got so much flack from Jade Empire of 3/4 of your screen are taken up with 4 paragraphs of your decision, and then you're skipping all the text because you've just read it already.
Oh yeah.
I can appreciate that, but there has to be. I agree that there has to be some better middle ground, or at least consistent writing across. If you're going to make your stances binary, they should be at least a little more consistent across the board.
Yeah. I don't know. Those games are still really good.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to jump down that rabbit hole again.
Yeah, you're sort of skirting on the edge of that hole.
Yeah, and I've had enough of these podcasts where I've only talked about that. Okay, I guess like right after recorded the other podcast, I played some more Morrowind. Went over to Vivek, and I'm still continuing the path of giving my character infinite money and trading myself in whatever I find to kind of dodge a lot of the more technical details of the game. But
Sure.
Vivek's a crazy city because one, it's absolutely massive. The other part of it is it's named after a god who lives there, who later in the game you can meet. Kind of the storyline for Morrowind centers around these 3 gods, which is Vivek, and I don't remember the name of the other 2, but one of the main villain is one of them, and then one of the DLCs deals with the third one. But and actually, if you're freaking tough enough, you can kill Vivek if you really want.
Jeez.
It's you probably shouldn't because he's I think he has a bunch of quest lines, but I don't remember anything particularly significant about that area. And then I popped in the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. I'm trying to pump through the Thieves quest in this game so I can play the Assassin's quest line, which everyone just rants and raves about being so good. And I had never played it, partially because I was so enamored with Morrowind's Morag Tong assassins.
Right.
I hated the idea of going back to the Dark Brotherhood. Like a big storyline of Morrowind's Morag Tong is that they really dislike the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh, okay.
And the way they do business. So a lot of that, like, I guess it's a testament to how well it was written at the time that I would hold that grudge.
Well, and the other problem too, even at a core level for the games, is just there's so much content in those games. how do you prioritize one storyline over the other, knowing that most people can't afford to play a game for 400 hours, you know?
Yeah, seriously, there's so much in it, and like I don't know, you could say Skyrim has more content than the other games, but like in a lot of ways the other games are larger. It takes longer to get to where you're going. There are more like beats to the quest line you have to go through.
Right.
The main thing I want to get from the Thieves Guild quest line is at the end you get a mask that, like, you have you have infamy in the game, and you also have fame and infamy.
Mhm.
And infamy you get whenever you do something bad. So, but when you
Right.
wear this mask, only the mask gets infamy. You don't.
Oh, interesting.
So I figured that'd be a useful tool to have before I go and kill a bunch of people.
That's so interesting too, because that seems like such an Elder Scrolls thing to do. You know, like you don't see that in very many other games. That at the end of a quest line, you get something. You know, other games would be like, oh, you don't gain infamy when you do bad things, but this game tries to lore everything, where it's like, no, the
Yeah.
mask gets it, and it's like, you know, that's pretty cool. You don't see a lot of stuff like that's a, you know, an early to mid '90s PC RPG thing. You know, like something you would see in a Fallout game or something. So that's pretty cool that they keep some of that stuff around even then.
Yeah, I love it. That's the one quality of the Bethesda games. Like, yes, their games are mostly about the world they're in, but it's also like so much about you kind of creating this own like legend in your mind about your character, and they
Yeah.
give you all these nice stats and tools and reactions to kind of create that feel, even if that means in Oblivion you're walking around and everyone's like, "Oh, the hero of Kavash," like
Yeah.
constantly, or
Well, it's cool because you get to make your own character and you get to make your own story. You know, it really is an avatar. It really is a role playing game of which you don't always get much nowadays.
yeah, it's now if only they could refine their dialogue a bit.
Yeah,
um,
yeah. Sometimes it can get a little wonky.
Yeah, I don't. But at the same time, like I don't know how you fix a lot of it. Like a lot of my issue with the dialogue in all their games is the info dumps. Like you meet a character and they're like, "Here's my life story," and there's no.
Yeah, that's
But
also
in
a
a
very
game
RPG
with
thing too.
yeah, but in a game with like thousands of characters,
Yeah,
how do you create a situation where you make a random relationship with just one of them? You know,
yeah,
it just doesn't work.
yeah.
I also ran through the arena quest on Oblivion just because it was there and it was easy and quick to do.
Hmm.
You literally just sign up for the arena and go do a bunch of arena battles. And I felt really bad at the end though because I forgot. Like the arena champion is this half orc called the Grey Prince,
Hmm.
and he thinks his dad is nobility. And you get a quest to go find evidence of who his dad is. And spoiler alert for 6-year, 10-year-old game, however old it is. You find out that his dad's a vampire,
Oh, interesting.
and it like crushes him so much he just wants to die. So when you get in a fight with the arena, he runs up to you and then just says, "End it." And I'm like, now I feel bad. You
Yeah,
need to
no,
fight
this
back,
is a
man.
bummer.
But that was the situation I created for myself.
Yeah.
And that was the only way to exit out of that. So that's what I did. But it's the arena quest is neat just because it's really quick to get through. They have some frustrating ones where they'll like the opposing team will want you to lose, so they'll be like, "Guess what? We're throwing you in the arena with 3 prisoners," even though that's totally not fair.
Yeah.
And for my thief bow and arrow character, that was
Not
kind of
really gonna
difficult
work.
to get through.
Yeah.
It was a lot of me running backwards, shooting bows at them, hoping that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
wouldn't catch up. But I don't know. That's still a really. I think Oblivion is still playable in a lot of ways. Morrowind is so far away from the control language that we use nowadays
Yeah.
that you really have to have a certain mindset when you go into it. But Oblivion is very much playable.
Yeah. And
I also pl-
if anyone's
oh.
interested in playing Oblivion on PC, there are so many mods nowadays to make it look like a modern game. That don't let some graphics hold you back. You can probably buy it for less than $3 on Steam and download, a couple hundred meg texture pack. And when I tried playing through it, it looks beautiful if you put some good texture packs on it.
I think the new one for both Morrowind and Oblivion is like a gig or two now.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, so I mean, it makes the game look really, really, really great. So nobody should let the graphics hold them back.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's still a great game. Still worth playing. They still do a lot of interesting things in it, but everything's longer than it is in Skyrim. Skyrim, I feel they created a game that you can easily just hop in for 20 minutes, complete a quest, and turn it off. And
sure, yeah.
the Oblivion ones are a bit longer, but I also played some more Etrian Odyssey 1. I played 4 too, but I'll get to that in a minute. I've kind of burnt myself out on these games again. I reached a point in Etrian Odyssey where I was in these levels where they're kind of I think it was ant queens, something like that, and they had these spawn points. So if you got caught in a battle with one, it could go on just like forever because they keep showing up.
Yeah.
And after on a 30-minute fight on the bus, like walking home, I'm like, oh, my guys are out of everything. Please just let me kill this last one and get away and go heal because I have nothing to escape this battle with, and I don't want to lose 30 minutes worth of experience.
Oh, yeah.
But I did manage to accomplish that and get to the next level. And oddly enough, I unlocked a new class.
Oh.
I thought I had to actually beat a game before they happened, but I unlocked a Ronin. And let me tell you, when you're level 40 and you're trying to level up a level 1 character, it is really frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, it's on the level, like, the way this game does it, it's on the level of when you get, like, Cloud in Final Fantasy Tactics frustrating.
Yeah, and you're just like he's level what?
Yeah. And it takes so long. I think I got him up to level 20 or something, and I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm going back to my previous team.
Yeah, like this just isn't worth it. Although it is worth it in Tactics if you get his special sword.
Cloud's a great character, but it takes so long to level him up.
Yeah.
You probably have a method that's perfect for doing it, but I didn't. I've never looked up.
No, I've never leveled him up really high because he gets a lot better when you get the Buster Sword from the volcano. How I remember this, I won't even know. Because then you can do his limit breaks. And once you can do that, it makes it a lot easier, but it's still, everybody is level 40, 50, 60 something, and he's level 1, like, hey guys, I have 10 health points. Help.
Yeah. Let's beat up this enemy, hope we don't kill him, and then rush Cloud up, and hope Cloud can get that last hit in. And that's exactly what...
That's the hard part about Tactics, too. You can't have him just sit there and gain XP in the back row, because he actually has to do something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, because he doesn't have that Squire gain JP ability, does he?
No, it's a bummer.
But yeah, so the Ronin is, that's a perfect parallel for the Ronin in Etrian Odyssey. It might be, it's kind of a cool-sounding class, because the way it functions is you get, he has 4 stances that are skills. And each stance has, a subset of, 3 skills you can purchase under him. So it sounds like a really interesting strategy thing to do, but I probably am never going to find out.
You don't have 100 more hours to level them up.
Exactly.
In the first game, can you go back to an earlier dungeon, or I don't know how dungeons work in that first one.
Yeah, you can. In the first game, it's just one giant dungeon.
Cool.
Yeah, it's so I could go back to the earlier stuff whenever I want. It's just I'm literally just going to be mindlessly walking around. I really regret. I had a quest earlier where it wanted me to spend 5 days on a level in a dungeon, which,
it's a lot of time.
Yeah, I don't know if they have something like that in 4, but
4, I know it does. It does have a day-night cycle.
Yeah, imagine having to spend 5 days on any floor. It is it really just turns into attrition where you're just
Yeah.
like, what else can I do in real life while I press the forward button so time passes in this game?
Yeah, it's like the Dead Rising 1's 24-hour achievement.
Ugh.
Yeah. No, thank
Ugh.
you.
Yeah. So yeah, one's a really old game. So I played more of four when I got to kind of that frustration point.
Yeah.
Um,
I played a bunch
and
more
four,
4 too.
I still really like four. Like I'm not very far in it. I just beat the Berserker King and got to that second area.
Hmm.
Um,
I think I'm like
but
three-quarters of the
it
way through the second area.
okay. I can you take out any of like the overmap FOEs?
You can when you get strong enough, yeah. Like at the probably about a quarter of the way or halfway through the second area, I was finally strong enough to take out those like kangaroo punching things from the first overworld,
Okay.
and that felt really good. And then I got to fly on like the higher plane, and then there's more FOEs up there. So
Okay. Yeah, I am waiting for that point because there's a mission I got, and I'm not good at the whole throw the food and dodge the FOE thing.
yeah, that
I,
that stuff is. So I'm not playing Etrian Odyssey 4 anymore because of that stuff. Because I found
oh
the
man.
overworld stuff so, especially in the second area, just so overwhelmingly frustrating. Of even the one of the first add-ons they give you for the airship is being able to throw a piece of food one more square over, um, which is super helpful for this stuff. But there's a lot of times where the game doesn't give you nearly enough information, and I'm having to go hunt down a fac for. All right, the thing in the overworld looks like a praying mantis, and I need to get to the thing he's circling around. What do I have to kill and get meat on to throw to get him? Like it's super frustrating. And what was the
Yeah.
quest you're on in that first area?
It's the one I haven't gotten yet is the one with the kid with the crashed plane that you're supposed to go find near the two kangaroo looking things that are
Hmm.
near a like they just kind of go in a circle
Yep.
surrounding this dungeon, and I can get to the dungeon,
Yeah.
but I don't know where the kid is because I haven't been able to fully explore that area because I'm terrible at the food thing.
Yeah. It's super frustrating. For some of those missions, I just had to look up a fac, and somebody would say, "Okay, we'll get this type of food, throw it over here, then you'll have enough time to get in there and do something, and then get back out." But
Oh man,
yeah, like
I'm
that.
just gonna wait.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna wait till I can kill him.
that would be my suggestion. I mean, that game is super great, and I was having a lot of fun, especially as I started getting into like the level 20 sort of skills. But man, I just don't. I don't have enough time to sit there and just beat my head against a wall.
So something I did read about for is I guess you can assign a character to your QR code, and someone else can scan that and take your character.
For how it seemed like you put your whole guild in there or something like that, and then you could pick a character. Something along those lines. We started a thread on the TVGP forums to share our guild cards, those QR codes. And I scanned some people's in, and I have no idea what to do.
You know, maybe that's what. Maybe I just need to do a search for someone who posted like their level 100 character or whatever that I can add to my party.
Oh, maybe.
Because my understanding is you can add one of their characters to your party, the one they assign to the code,
Ooh.
but they don't. You can't unequip them and you can't use their experience. But having a super high level character and
Yeah.
maybe taking out some high level FOEs, that sounds
Oh, interesting.
appealing.
The other thing I would recommend too is Atlas runs a Blogspot blog for Etrian Odyssey 4, and they have all sorts of unlockable QR code stuff in there. Like, oh, I'm gonna scan this thing, and it gives you 3 gold nuggets that are worth 1,000 gold apiece if you sell them. Like that sort of stuff. For anybody
Oh,
playing Etrian
nice.
Odyssey 4, like go look at that stuff. Go find some wiki that people have put up. Like Destructoid had a bunch of quests that was exclusive to them, and some of them were actually pretty easy and gave you a whole bunch of experience. So those would help out too.
Yeah. I'll also mention Etrian Odyssey 4 is a lot harder than 1.
Oh, really?
Like, Yes, it's because one is very straightforward. You occasionally do have to dodge an FOE, but there's no getting one to follow you to take out barriers. There's no
Yeah, that is by the skin your teeth sort of stuff. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
it's right behind me. Oh God.
like there's no airship in it, so there's no throwing out food to get around them
Yeah.
or anything like that. It's very straightforward dungeon crawling.
Actually, I wonder
But
if do you know if you can change the difficulty in Etrian Odyssey 4 while you're playing? So I wonder if I should just set it back
I
down to casual and just burn through it.
ooh, I like that
I just
idea.
I just had that thought where I'm like, oh, hello.
I forgot modern games where they want you to play them.
Yeah, difficulty levels.
I bet you can.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm gonna have to go investigate. Maybe I'll get back into that then, because it's a really good
yeah.
game, and I really hate putting it down. But like in the second area, there's that first dungeon where if you walk too many steps in the one big room that because it has poison or something in it, you pass out and come back to the beginning area. Like just
Ugh. Yeah, I haven't gotten to that. I don't think I found any. Like, I literally just opened it up, accidentally got in a fight with a giant violent sheep and died. And
yeah, yeah, that area is
called
a
it good.
bunch of fun. Yeah, that first there's just for everybody playing this game, yourself included, Musum, that first dungeon in the second area, just look up a fac. Because the game does not give you enough information on where you need to go to get this thing to unlock more stuff in that area. And it took me way too long to figure it out. And I was just like, oh, well, that's dumb.
Yeah.
So,
Honestly, I'm about to decide I've chosen the wrong team layout for this because I tried something different than the first game, and I just like my. What are they? The Dark Hunt? Not Dark Hunters. Are they called Dark Hunters? The two weapon wielding people?
yeah, I kicked one of them out of my team real quick. Like, maybe
They
within 2 or 3 levels.
like the one I have does so much damage, but they die so freaking quick.
They're real glass cannons, and I couldn't afford to have one of those. I think I replaced it with the Dancer.
Yeah.
And I've been sort of happy with the Dancer.
The Dancer, they're kind of glass too, but I really like their skills are super useful.
Especially the regen.
Because the regen, the chase samba,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what else I got.
There's
The
another
counterattack
really good
one's
one.
okay, but like the chase samba and regen are freaking
Yep.
awesome.
That's the good
like,
stuff.
Having them, I guess for the audience, the chase samba makes your dancer follow like have a chance to follow any of your character's attacks.
Yep.
So
The more you
that's just like,
the more you level up the skill, the more percentage chance they have, I think.
yeah, that's how I handle boss battles. Is I'll do chase samba, and then when everyone starts dying, I'll turn on regen.
Yeah. I
That
actually
Berserker
really
King was no joke to freaking fight too.
no. I mean that was an accomplishment saying you've and I actually do kind of like what they do in Etrian Odyssey 4 where like it's almost a boss battle in and of itself finishing a floor, and then by the time you get to the next floor they're like, whew, alright, you need to take a breather, here's another dungeon, maybe you should go take care of that one first to level up to go to the next floor here. And I thought that was a really smart decision. That way you never really get sick of one dungeon, like slogging through all the floors. And all the other dungeons are going to have some totally different method you have to do to get through it. Like there's that one dungeon in the first area where there's those really, really weak FOEs that you can kill, like those purple horse things. And then when you kill all of them, the big thing comes out and chases you down throughout the whole area. So like really cool little different things, and it's still really fun mapping those areas.
I thought that was really neat. And you know what? That deer gives you a freaking awesome item to get an awesome weapon. So
Yep.
totally
And,
worth it.
yeah,
It's worth.
that stuff is really good too, like selling all those bits and pieces to get new and better weapons and stuff. Like it's all I mean gated content, but it feels really good when you come back from a dungeon, you sell 30 individual frog parts, and then you can get 2 new swords and a new shield, and you're like, hell yeah, I can. Woo, dungeon.
Yeah, man, love that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that game, but I haven't played it in a couple weeks now because I'm just
Yeah, I haven't either.
I overloaded myself. So let's see. I also played I played through Torg's Campaign of Carnage on Borderlands 2.
Oh yeah,
That is absolutely hilarious.
that's
Uh,
some really great writing in that thing.
yeah, I had to cheese the last boss though because that was just
Oh, my girlfriend and I did too. Like there was just no, it was super steep difficulty curve coming out of
I
nowhere.
yeah, seriously. I mean, it's they put a raid boss for the end boss of the campaign where there hadn't been raid bosses before. I mean,
Hmm.
come on.
Pretty
That
crazy.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
It was really funny, like when you first see it and hearing Torg's reaction to it.
yeah. Did you
But yeah,
did you get the quest for that tour gives you to hunt down a monster in one area? Most people
um,
don't do this quest, and it's such
oh
a
yeah, I
shame.
did get that
Yeah,
one.
that I won't spoil it for anybody else, but it's one of the funniest missions I've run into where he has you hunting down a monster, like a very typical Borderlands mission where it's like go to this area, fight this monster that's killing everyone, and then come back. But the way that they change it as soon as you get there is really really great and a really great play on words.
It took me like several minutes to realize what was happening when I got there. I'm like,
Yeah.
my icon is oh.
Oh, it's a, oh, I get it. Man, that DLC
I
is
think my
just so good. That with Tori's character is just brilliant.
it's man, it's all, pretty much every line of dialogue in that is freaking
Hmm.
hilarious because of Torg.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one was the game reviewer one.
Yeah. That sort of that stuff was almost a little on the nose, but really, really, really good.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah, that was absolutely hilarious. Like I beat that, and then I was gonna go play. What was the last DLC? It was the Hunts one.
Yeah.
But I remember the internet saying it was so bad. I'm like, I'm just gonna let the good taste of Torg's campaign like
Yeah.
sit with me for a while, you know.
I actually
Um,
don't. I'm my girlfriend and I are a little bit through that DLC, and I wouldn't necessarily wouldn't necessarily say it's bad. But the problem that we were having was it's a lot more difficult than the other DLC packs. So going in there with loot that's kind of okay, and you're not getting a lot of better loot. And at the time, there wasn't any level cap increase. Like I feel like there should have been at that point. So we were
mm,
going through and playing it, and we're just like beating the crap out of ourselves. There's one type of enemy that levels up enemies around them, um, and it just gets out of control really, really, really quickly. So we were just like, well, no, we're not going to play this until the level cap increases because this is dumb. So
yeah, it's man, that sucks. It's well, and I noticed like I have a bunch of unfinished missions in
mhm.
Torgs because I'm not level 50,
Yeah,
and
and
they
there's
have all
so
those.
much stuff in there.
Yeah, they have all those arenas that you can't take out.
Yeah,
Man, I love the bar in Torgs. I thought that
yeah,
was really clever.
hmm
Um, and I love that like they're fighting each other, not just you
yeah,
here and there.
yeah. And I think
Uh,
in one of the recent patches too, they took the thieving rat men out of the bar too, since they were just stealing everybody's money at like tens of thousands of dollars every snatch. So
ugh.
that's definitely a
Well,
bonus.
honestly, I would care more, but money. I would argue that money is almost pointless in the game, other
At
than
some point, yeah,
to kind of slap you for dying.
and
'Cause I've
ammo, but
never.
nothing too expensive.
Yeah, like I buy ammo, and occasionally I'll see a costume on sale at the machine and buy
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, um, but I don't know. Yeah, I gotta. I also played a bit more of my Necromancer.
Mm,
It's weird, like because I love playing the Necromancer, but every time I play it, like I'm so like doing exactly what I'm supposed to do and not doing almost any exploration anymore. I'm
yeah.
just like, let me barrel through this and get this leveled up and
You just sort
get
of
some
hitting
of
the
the later
critical
stuff. But
path.
yeah, I'm still doing the side quests, but I'm not. I'm not going after any of the challenges or anything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But but that character's really good and a lot of
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah, a lot of good, really good risk reward stuff.
Yeah, I'm totally going down the anarchy tree right now.
Oh yeah, that's
Um,
to me that's the only way to go. It's just super crazy.
yeah, it's so much fun. It's looking forward to getting her more leveled up. But
Hmm.
that Borderlands 2 is for me is the perfect game that I can just hop in for 15 to 30 minutes and then hop out.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
let's see. Speaking of sequels, I also played a bunch of Torchlight 2.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I'm in these. I say a bunch. I feel like I played a bunch. I'm in the second area. I think I'm a good way through the second area. I played some of it on multiplayer,
Mm.
which I thought was a lot of fun. I forgot how much I love playing those styles of dungeon
Oh yeah.
crawlers with multiplayer. And it's like I forgot all the things they did in multiplayer. So for a while, I was playing with Scott. Me and him were tripping out because I was like, "Don't you see that item? Why don't you pick it up? It's for your
Yeah.
character." And he's like, "But, because you get your own loot and
Yep.
your own quest stuff. Like it tracks completely differently, so you're
Yeah.
never stealing from each other." Which I thought was very clever to do. I just wish it had informed us of that.
Yeah, I
um,
really liked that in Diablo 3 as well, because there was nobody's ever really getting too distracted about, oh, I have to go get that piece of loot before someone else does, even though there's 300 enemies surrounding you.
yeah, and I'm that guy who will totally gank everyone's stuff before.
I'll admit it. I got a problem.
I it's I blame Borderlands because Borderlands
Yeah.
it trains you just to open everything and grab everything immediately. And now
Yeah.
when I get in a multiplayer game, like I don't even think about it. I just kill everything and take everything, and oh
Yeah.
crap, there's someone else.
Yeah.
Do you want any of this stuff? Most of it's crap. I don't know what to offer you.
Yeah.
But yeah, Torchlight 2 is still really good.
Hmm.
Trying to think. I'm playing an engineer still. I got a little robot that shoots things and a robot that heals.
Nice.
I got I don't remember all the skills I'm taking. It's amazing how much I just keep pumping points into like one of the first skills you get, and just how not tiresome it is to see my character like hit the ground and have fire like explode all over
Yeah.
the screen.
Well, the one thing I've
Uh,
always really liked about the two Torchlight games is it almost encourages you to break the game with your skills. Where it's like, most games wouldn't let you have a little helper that attacks and a little helper that heals, and they both maybe do a little more damage than they should and a little more healing than they should, but they kind of encourage that, where it's like, yeah, you can have both of these. Why wouldn't you? It's awesome.
it's it's so great, and it's the tank class
Yeah,
in
the
Torchlight
engineer is
2.
the tank.
Who would have thought? You get a monocle. It's
Oh, God,
wonderful.
it's so good. It's so good and it's so cheap, and I feel badly that I never played enough of it. Like, I never finished Torchlight 2, and I feel really badly about it.
If you ever want to hop in a game, just
Yeah, I'll
send me a
shoot
message
you
on
a
Steam.
Steam note.
I only have one character. I'm entirely willing to try one of the other classes and start a new one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when me and Scott got in, like I was like level, I don't know, 20 or something, and he was like level 11,
Hmm.
and I still leveled up like every 10, 15 minutes, like you would
Yeah.
normally, and like at the end, he was a lot closer to my level, but I still did not feel like I died pretty quickly because I assumed that it would just be a breeze for me walking through and wasn't paying
Mhm.
attention,
Yeah.
which was, I mean, it's not a hard game. I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
So I think that speaks volumes about whatever they did for the multiplayer scenario. But
Yeah.
let's see, what else did I play? And lastly, Susie and I remembered that we were playing Final Fantasy IX, and
Oh,
plugged that back in, and we didn't do a whole lot. We were in a cave with a bunch of switches, and
Oh, boy.
kind of you flip a switch, and then you hop on a bug, and then you go somewhere, and we kind of got through that cave, and I know we missed a chest, and it was depressing, but um, they had a treasure hunting mini game at the end, which was really weird because it was like you pay this guy a potion and then chip away at a wall. And,
Oh, I sort of
we
remember
finally
that.
looked at yeah, we looked up like an FAQ, and you're just like, yeah, you can get lots of rare stuff and this and that. And after like 5 minutes of only getting ore from the wall, I was like, well, screw it. And then
Yeah.
I hit a wall, and a text box appeared, and we found a Moogle trapped behind a wall, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, I remember
I,
that area. That was so weird.
I love Moogles in that game, by the way.
They're the most adorable Moogles.
It's I love that they're the shops. I love that they're the save points. I love that they send mail to each other,
That's my
chew
favorite
each
part.
other out.
Yep, that's my favorite part is seeing what Moogle mail looks like.
Yeah, I'm depressed because I think we missed a Moogle mail, and because we haven't been delivering as much as I feel like we should have been. But
I think you can go back pretty easily to get some of the other ones.
okay, I really hope so. We aren't to the point where they've given us the world traversal vehicle yet, but
Oh, okay.
so that is, I believe, all I've played.
All right, I spent some time starting Alpha Protocol. One of my favorite RPGs of this generation, even though it definitely doesn't seem like an RPG. But I remembered very, very quickly that it is when you start and the reticle is about the size of a grapefruit on the screen. But man, that game is rough looking and it plays really rough and it is a little bit wonky the entire time. But man, do I absolutely love it. And going back through and writing like the sort of quick start guide for people that have never played, kind of reminded me that there are nearly infinite ways you can play this game, from how your character is to the skills you're picking to the missions you pick and all that stuff. And I learned a lot of stuff about the game. Like I never knew that if you're inconsistent in the way you treat individual people, that they'll pick up on that throughout the game. Like if you treat Mina Tang one way through 75% of the game, and then you switch how you're treating her at the end, then she'll respond to you treating her differently instead of just giving you different lines. It's just like, God, Obsidian, what sort of crazy monster game did you make? Like, man.
They really were all about the RPG as in ROLE playing, like in that game. Like,
yep.
So much of that is so, like, the amount of story twisting they do, like, it just gets me super excited for their Kickstarter game thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, just I really wish I could get everybody to play Alpha Protocol, but I know they won't because it originally got such a bad name, because I think it's a really hard game to review, and I think it's a game that really benefits from multiple people playing at the same time and then comparing their stories. Because when the three of us played on TVGP, we all got vastly different endings. And I'm not talking about like, oh, the ending was a little bit different, or like you rode off in the sunset with a different person. Like everything that happened in that last area was totally different. Even the number and style of bosses you fought in the ending. Like I didn't,
that's awesome.
I didn't fight two bosses because of the decisions I made that the other guys might have fought, and one dude had a totally different boss encounter than the other one did with the same boss. Like just absolutely insane stuff, and it really a lot of the great parts of Alpha Protocol is your choices really do have consequences, and maybe not necessarily immediately, but by the time the game wraps up, the things you have chosen are really affect the game that you play. So I'm really looking forward to playing through it again. I don't think I've played it in probably maybe like 2 years or so. And it does look a little wonky, and controls are a little weird, but man, it's still just fantastic.
Yeah, I almost started it this week. I just was too tired, but I entirely plan on participating in this TVGP plays.
Yeah.
And everyone should vote for Planescape Torment next time, too, because I really want to try playing that game.
Yeah, man. Game Club will play anything that people vote for. We have a pretty good voting system down now. So, but for anybody that's interested in playing Alpha Protocol, I absolutely, like Musum said, check the forums. There's 2 good getting started guides on there. I bought a brand new copy of it for 360 from Amazon for $7, and most of the time you can find it on Steam for like $2 or $3 as part of the pack. So you're really not missing. You're not losing, $60. You're losing for literally the price of a cup of coffee. I think play a really good game.
And I think one of the best pieces of advice on that forum is something that I did on my last attempt to play the game, which was don't go to Russia first, because
you will not finish the game.
Yeah,
just flat out.
I got to the last boss on it, and I'm like, I can't beat this.
Yeah.
After several hours, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, literally you get stuck. That game. The game was supposed to have been made where you could just go to whichever area you wanted in whatever order, but for however reason, whatever happened, you can't. So there is an optimal way to go through that game, which unfortunately kind of sucks. But I think if you play through the game a number of times and unlock the veteran playthrough, then I think you probably do it then. But certainly not on anyone's first time playing through. Just don't even. Not worth it. You're not going to be able to finish the game, so don't do that. And the only other RPG I've been playing this month, I've been playing a ton of roguelikes. I don't know how I got down the rabbit hole of playing 800 hours of FTL and getting into Dungeons of Dreadmore and Binding of Isaac. But I played a lot of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. And by a lot, I mean I think I might have played like 30 hours.
Oh, wow.
Man, is that game great. I was not... I know a lot of people had played it, and a lot of people had really liked it. But I really was not prepared for genuinely how good that game is. The writing is a little hokey at points, and the voice acting is kind of so-so. But just the amount of content in that game, and the amount of... the bigness of the world, the massive, large hugeness of what that game provides. I'm 30 hours in, and I have only wandered in about 4 areas in the game, and it looks like there's probably about 40.
Oh, wow.
So, like, because I've been trying to do all the side quests and all the stuff I can, and there's just so much content. Oh my god. But man, is all of it really, really, really great. It's a really solid sort of hack and slash third person, not really action RPG, because your stats do matter quite a bit, but it's more it's not dudes lining up and slashing at each other. It really is. It's more actiony than that. I mean, I'm struggling where to even start.
I remember
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I remember playing the demo, and I remember the combat being really interesting.
It is really fun, yeah.
But I remember the art direction being pretty amazing, too.
Yeah, that is... It's a very striking-looking game. It's one of those games, like I praise... I'm one of the few people that praises Darksiders 1 and 2 for its art style. Not necessarily because it's great. I mean, some of it kind of isn't super. But at least it's a cohesive art style throughout the whole thing. And this feels very much the same way of... it very much has a world it's trying to put together.
Yeah.
And that's one of the impressive things, too. Since everybody knows they were using this game as sort of ramping up to an MMO, and there's so much world building in this game, and there's so many different characters, there's so much mythology in this game that it's almost a little bit staggering in how much there is in it. But in a positive way, because it's never... I don't think I've run into an instance where it just beats you over the head with like a half hours of, well, the elves did this, blah, 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 blah. None of that sort of stuff. It really intelligently designed on gameplay and all that stuff. And there's a couple little gripes. The stores, the shops in the game kind of suck in general. Like, I didn't... So probably about 20-25 hours in, I didn't know you could expand your inventory by buying new backpacks. Because who knew? You know, like there's just at some point there's almost too much stuff in the game for you to really track. But you know, once you start putting the pieces together, and once you start getting into this devilish crafting system that they've put in the game, that I want to make everything now. It never really feels overwhelming, which I think is a real testament to how it's designed. There's so much stuff in that game, an astounding amount of things you can do at any one point, but you never feel. You know, there's some games where you walk into a town and you get 20 quests for 10 people, and then you follow one quest and it goes to another area, and there's 20 more, and at some point you just don't want to start because there's just too much. You know, I never feel like that. If you go into a brand new town, there might be 5 or 6 new quests at most, and you know, once some of those quests finish, maybe you'll get another 1 or 2 quests, and they're kind of doling it out intelligently. And then when you're done with that area and all their quests, they'll send you off to another area that has, you know, a couple new quests for you to start. So,
well, I'd heard a lot of comparisons of it to like the Elder Scrolls games, where you just you try and go on one quest and get like 30 more. So
yeah, but never really to that that overwhelming extent. You know, some of the stuff in some of the Elder Scrolls stuff is like, oh man, there are 100 people in this town. I know I'm going to talk to every one of them, and they're going to have some crazy quest, and I'm not going to be able to keep any of these and keep track of any of these. And like an MMO, Reckoning has a quest tracker system. So you set your active quest, and it displays it on the screen. You know where it is, how much progress you've made, and then every time you go into your overworld map, it has on the map your non-active quest stuff too. So if you're near an area where you've got to harvest, 5 mushrooms, let's say, but that's not your main quest, it's still going to show up on your map saying, hey, these mushrooms, they are right around this area, or this quest is right in this area. So you're never, you can go out in the wild and then get a couple quests done, even if they're not on your active quest, because they're on your way. And I thought that was a really smart choice. So it's just stuff like that, like really, really, really well designed stuff in that world. So, and it was super cheap. It's a great game.
I was about to say, this is making me want to go download it.
Yeah, I mean, like I had played. I think I had gotten into it as soon as I had finished Tomb Raider, and I had sort of finished Tomb Raider, and I had finished something else that was more of an action-y style game. And I was sort of thinking, like, man, I just really want to sink my teeth in just a real meaty RPG. Not, something that's an 8 to 10 hour action game. Those are great too. But, I really want to... Oh, this cat. Come over here.
I need to get back to Tomb Raider. I started that, and then Bioshock Infinite came out and took over my life. And
yeah. I haven't even started Bioshock Infinite yet.
It's pretty compelling, as I'm sure you've heard.
I think I'm going to start it. I think I'm going to start it today. My girlfriend and I have been joining each other as we've been playing video games and sort of watching the other person play story-heavy games. So I really want her and I to experience that game at the same time, because it seems like something that her and I would both really gravitate towards. Not only story-wise, but sort of production and delivery-wise.
Yeah.
So. But yeah.
Well, it's a game you want to play through multiple times too. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Detracting. Amalur.
Reckoning is really great, and now I understand why so many people really, really loved it, and why so many people were playing it for so long. There's just so much content in this game that's all so far really, really interesting. And man, I really recommend it for anybody that really just wants to sink their teeth into just a big, really fun RPG. And just a game where you keep unlocking more and more interesting stuff. Like, there's this one skill tree. They're not really skill trees, they're basically skills. A lot like Alpha Protocol, where you're just putting points horizontally in one skill. And one of them is some sort of like perception skill around the world. And one of the first points is you find all these like hidden loot areas around the world. Like, oh, here's a hollow log. I'll crack it open, and there's a piece of loot in it. And one of the last couple skills I put in there were you now see hidden doors around the world, and even places where I've been before, there are now these hidden doorways that you go up to and open, and there's this brand new area behind it. Probably has a couple enemies and like 2 or 3 chests in it. And I'm like,
Oh, jeez.
that's horrible and awesome at the same time, because now I gotta go back to all those areas and find all this. So it's that kind of game, and I love it for it. It's really pretty great.
Sounds pretty sweet.
But those are all the RPGs I've been playing. So let's take a break.
And
What? Go
well,
ahead.
actually, real quick,
Okay.
I forgot. I played. I started a new game on Persona 4. um, and I mainly want to bring that up. Like, I have nothing new to add to the Persona conversation other than that. I think
Sure.
Polygon had a really good article on Persona 4 not too long ago.
Yeah, Lee Alexander and someone else just posted it on Thursday or Friday, I think it was.
Yeah. Like, they linked to another article that makes some other interesting points, but the other article is very spoiler heavy. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
the Leah Alexander on Polygon one, I really enjoyed reading that, which I'm usually not a big fan of their back and forth letters ones, but
She writes
that
really
one-
good back and forth letters ones. She and somebody else did one for Final Fantasy VII that was actually really good because they'd never played it before. So it was sort of neat seeing them experience a game that pretty much everybody else has played through before. That was kind of interesting.
It's I don't know. I just like the level of analysis they took everything to,
Yeah.
and I like the back and forth argument on RPG mechanics and whether they should stay or go. But here, just
Interesting.
wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to read that. I didn't have a chance to read all of it. So cool. All right, let's take a break.
Okay.
All right, I need to get more to drink.
I have. Yeah.
Come on, cat. Let's go. Come here. Come on. Okay. All right. exciting life and times of two empty chairs. Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm on a weird place with gaming right now where I want to start every game I own.
Yeah.
And I can't quite get myself to commit to any idea. Like, I think I'm a good chunk of the way through Tomb Raider, and I really just need to go and finish that game. And it's really good, but for some reason I just can't make myself do it.
I sort of faltered at some point, not because the game's bad, but I think because I had sort of poop socked it a little bit. And man, I'm glad I finished that game because it is really pretty good.
It's I'm not a Tomb Raider fan by any means.
No,
but
me neither.
I went and got this ATI card that came with Tomb Raider and BioShock Infinite.
Oh, nice! Whoa, what a deal!
That's how I just yeah. That's how. It's like a 7870 or something like that. But
wow.
That's how I justified buying two brand new games to myself. Was I get a video card that I don't really need because
it came with it.
Yeah. Forget that my current video card's only a year old.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an ATI, so I got the hair engine, which is
nice.
Equal parts awesome and goofy.
Actually, they didn't lock that in like PhysX, so NVIDIA cards can do that too.
That is amazingly nice of them.
Yeah.
After NVIDIA's constant attempts to do that.
Yeah. Okay. I am ready whenever you are.
There. I'm gonna put the transformer down. I'm ready.
All right. Let's start the second segment here in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about RPG releases for this month, April 2013. Tales of Grace's F gets a digital release on PSN on actually March 26th for $40. But I wanted to mention that because not only is it a Tales game, but I get the impression that that game has been a little bit hard to find ever since the physical release. So now you can go download it for only 40 bones. It's pretty good. Next game, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner Soul Hackers for the 3DS coming out on the 16th, which I am so excited for.
Woo! I'm ready for a new SMT game.
Yeah, and everybody has always said that this is one of the best SMT games, so I am super pumped to play this one. The last of the 3 Operation Rainfall games, Pandora's Tower, coming out for the Wii on the 16th. I know virtually nothing about this game.
Yeah, I know nothing about it either. It seems like it's getting a lot more hate on the internet, though, than the other two did.
Yeah, I think it was sort of in decreasing order of quality, it seemed like. Like, Xenoblade Chronicles was sort of the big hot one, so
man, still gotta get that.
Oh, it's so good. Next game is Dead Island Riptide for PS3, 360, and PC, coming out on the 23rd. I am one of the few people that did not enjoy that first one, so I will be skipping out on this one.
You see, I had no, like, all the gameplay stuff I'd seen on the Dead Island stuff, none of it made me want to play it. Like,
Yeah.
destructible weapons, #1 way to turn me off to your game.
Yeah.
But their advertising is so damn good for this series. Like, the
Yeah.
Riptide advertisements make me want to be like, yeah, I'll pre-order this on Steam and get the other game, but
And it's
I'm
like, wait a minute.
gonna resist.
Yeah. Next, XCOM Enemy Unknown coming out on OS X on the 23rd. If you haven't yet played this game, you need to play this game. Everyone should. It's really good.
And I just realized we were missing a piece of news on our list related to this game.
Oh, yeah.
Because they announced
Yeah, go ahead.
it for freaking iOS,
Yep.
which is like, it sounds, I don't know. It could be equal parts awesome and terrible. I don't know.
Well, they're saying it's
I'm glad.
the entire game. So they're not cutting anything. The only thing they said they're going to cut is some maps won't be available because they have a size requirement. But beyond that, it's the entire full game coming to multiple iOS devices. So that could be pretty cool on an iPad.
I hope it gets more people into that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. No, XCOM is a really good SRPG gateway drug. Because
Yeah.
it's not super difficult and it's not super challenging, but it's enough. It's hard enough and it's challenging enough where you can sort of see the bones of the genre. And the last game, Soul Sacrifice for the PS Vita, coming out on the 30th. So let's talk about news stories. Demon's Souls, free to PlayStation Plus members for the PS3. For the entire month of April, you can download Demon's Souls for free. For non-PlayStation Plus members, it's only $20. I know Atlas is still keeping those servers up, so you can still play online. And man, if you've ever wanted to experience one of the most fun and one of the most enjoyably frustrating games that you can ever play, free. I mean, you can't pass up free. So.
Yeah, and honestly, part of me thinks this game would really appeal to survival horror fans because it's,
Oh yeah,
in a big way, it's a survival horror. It is more tense than any of those games out there, I would
Yep.
argue to an extent, with the
Yeah,
exception of
absolutely.
some early Silent Hills.
yeah.
But-
God, that game is so good. And if anybody is really interested in playing it, please do yourself a favor and find some sort of getting started guide. Because there are basically two ways you can play that game, either alive or dead, and there are sort of benefits and downfalls of each one, and the game does not explain itself well enough. Half of the fun is exploring and figuring out some of that stuff, but there's some stuff that they just won't explain ever.
Yeah.
So
And before you, like, the trouble is you really, like, you can't do too much damage to your character in the first, I'd say, dozen or so levels, but
right.
you really want to decide on a weapon type pretty quick.
Yeah.
So pick an animation that you think you can do decent on, and kind of strategize based on that, because you don't want to. There's a character that can be able to do everything in this game. You
No,
gotta pick a little bit of magic, a little bit of weapon. You gotta pick whether you want to go heavy armor or no armor, and just dodge everything.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good guides out there.
Yeah. Next news story, Shin Megami Tensei 4 announced for a summer US release. Launching this summer, rumors July. I cannot believe that Atlas US is bringing this out so soon.
I'm excited. I can't believe it either. We've never gotten, like, an SMT game this soon after Japan gets it.
Yeah. Oh man, and it's being sold as they call it, a premium title, which really means it's gonna be $50. And no word yet on any Atlas Faithful bundles, but I'm sure for something coming from Atlas that's $50 and it's a mainline SMT game, there's probably going to be one or two things, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I bet we'll get a soundtrack and possible art book, but it still trips me out that this is coming out for 3DS and not
like
Like,
PS3.
yeah,
Yeah.
you would think it'd hit a main console, but
I'm so excited because it looks so good. I mean, just not even really graphically, but just having another really solid mainline SMT game is just in and of itself. It's really interesting because the last one was Nocturne on the PS2 from forever
yeah.
ago. But man, it just really, really looks like a cool world, and I'm super, super excited to get into it.
And yeah, there's always, from what I gather, there's like Nocturne was very philosophy heavy, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of expecting that from this too. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and this also could, I mean, this is on the 3DS. It's a new game, so to me that means it's probably a new engine. So
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah.
we might get some really different looking demons and things in here, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think that was the big thing. They announced. I think it was in this one or it was in something else that was going to come out where they were announcing they're finally redoing the old demon art, and some of it is really bad, but some of it is really interesting. You know, I'm even as a fairly new SMT fan and Persona fan. I'm sort of I love those, you know, quote unquote classic demon designs, but maybe it is time to get some newer things in there.
Well, and they really, like, they made them all up on Nocturne. Like, I mean, they're kind of like Final Fantasy in that, you know, they'll have a lot of the same demons in the games,
Mhm.
but like a lot of the character models and things like that went on to be in Persona and Digital Devil Saga and Devil Summoner and all those.
Yep.
I mean, really started with Nocturne.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm ready for new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. We will definitely be talking all sorts of business about this game when it comes out because I'm sure both of us will be picking it up day one. I've already pre-ordered it, so pre-orders are already
Me
up on
too.
Amazon. So
Yeah, I got that email from Atlas, and I'm like, oh, Amazon,
yeah,
let's go.
go, 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 go. All right, next news story here: Borderlands 2 level cap raised. Finally, includes Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. So this is free for season pass holders, or if you don't have a season pass, it's only $5. Level cap raised from 50 to 61, so that's a bonus. A third playthrough announced, Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, and a brand new tier of weapons called Pearlescent, you know, like the old Pearlescent ones from the first game, to bridge that level 51 to 61 gap. So, it's about time that they've done it. Been a little too long coming.
So let me ask you, as someone who's been trapped at level 50 for a long time,
Sure.
do you think 11 levels is enough?
Probably with the way that the experience scales, it's probably going to take a while to get through those levels.
Okay.
I mean, it would be nice if we could do more, but ever the optimist, I would hope that now that they've figured out the problem, that maybe, you know, every other or every couple pieces of DLC, they'll throw us another 10, 11 levels, like they did on the first one, where, you know, every couple DLC pieces they say, well, 10 more levels, woo! So, I'm hoping.
It'd be nice.
Yeah.
I will give them kudos, though, man. I don't think I've ever seen a season pass give you as much content as this Borderlands 2
Yeah, no
has.
kidding. I mean, I think the season pass is $20. Third, I don't think it's 30. I think it might be 20. But man, yeah, just so much content is in this thing.
Yeah.
So, except
It's,
for the two new characters, neither of them are in the season pass. But I think they're only $10 a piece.
Yeah,
the
but
second one isn't out yet, but
what's her name, you know, came with the premium edition, though, so that
That's
really
true.
helped.
yeah,
But I mean, the DLC has all been long and great, and then you get, I don't know, I'm impressed.
it's definitely, this is how season passes should be. And our last news story here, Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut announced for Wii U. I'm going to turn this over to Musim because he threw this news story in here. I've seen a little bit of stuff, but nothing too specific.
It's honestly, from what I've read about it, like I plan on eventually getting a Wii U, and this makes me want to buy it for Wii U to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
they have redone the boss fights, not completely, but what they did is basically like the first boss, you know, in the normal game, you're thrown into a room and you have to shoot them to death, you know?
Hmm.
And this time what they did is they made it so that you can sneak through like a vent and activate some automated turrets or get like a sniping perch or something like that to
Oh,
kind
so
of use your skill set.
so stuff
Yeah.
built more for your character.
Exactly.
Nice.
So if you've done the stealth or the hacking character, there will be something in that area for you to combat the character with.
Nice. That's a good change.
Let me think. Some of the other things, the hacking in the game is now done on the Wii U control screen.
Mm.
I honestly, it's been so long since I played the game, I don't remember what the hacking looks like, but that sounds to me like it would be more immersive since the game would normally just scroll to that screen anyway.
Right.
And the crazy thing is that they're including a digital copy of the strategy guide with it.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's neat.
I guess they just paid I want to say it's Brady Games who did it, a set amount, and they're letting them put it on disc. But
Wow. That's pretty cool.
a lot of the people who've been promoting this have said that there are no plans to ever add this to the other versions, like any of this other stuff. So
That's a bummer.
yeah, it's a bummer, but man, it makes the Wii U version really appealing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it is, well, that's a okay. I won't poo on the Wii U.
We'll keep it positive here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely
I'll-
cool. Nice to see the Wii U getting some more exclusive stuff.
Yeah, now they just need some new games.
Yeah, Bayonetta 2, hopefully. All right, let's move on to tweets and emails. We have one tweet here from Ivan Incubus. Says, do you think the reception of RPGs in the West will get better and broader with good RPGs released early this year? He says, Fire Emblem, Persona 4, Ni no Kuni, to name a few. Great show, guys. Keep up the good work. It seems like it, and it seems like XCOM has helped a lot with that, actually. I've heard some couple stories of people saying, like, man, I picked up Enemy Unknown, and it's really cool. Now I'm going to pick up a couple other RPGs, and try and play that stuff. It's like, yeah, awesome.
Yeah. It's, man, between XCOM and I think Persona 4's, like, hype train coming around the Golden being released. Like, This last year just really opened people's minds to, like, it's been a real treat to follow all these journalists kind of trek into the RPG world and actually enjoy it. Like, I keep...
Yeah.
When Patrick Klepek first started getting into it on Giant Bomb, I thought, oh no, they're just going to crap all over everything I love.
Yeah, they're going to hate it again.
And they don't, for the most part. Like,
yeah. And I think Fire Emblem came out at a really good time, too. And was easy enough to get into for a lot of people that maybe either played XCOM and loved it, or maybe had been removed from the genre for a little bit and sort of playing it and going, yeah, this is really good. Yeah, and Ni no Kuni, I don't think made the splash that Sony or Namco Bandai had expected it to, but it's still, I think it sold pretty well, and it's still a really good game. And one of my top RPGs of this gen. But yeah, there've been a lot of really, really great games, and there's still a lot of really great DS and PSP JRPGs for people that just picked up a 3DS or a Vita to go back and play a lot of that stuff. So yeah, I think the biggest thing is it exposes people to handhelds as a JRPG platform.
Yeah, it's and they're probably a lot cheaper to develop for too, especially judging by all the indies flocking to the Vita.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But another thing that I think aids this is, and you may or may not remember this, but it seemed to me like 3 or 4 years ago there was this huge mentality on the internet from some prominent game journalists that, like, the first-person shooter was the final evolution of gaming.
Right.
And like modern day, like they've become much more critical of the first-person shooter and kind of the faults of that narrative style in terms of immersion and such. So that I think it's we've evolved on our critical thinking and examining these games too.
Right, right. Yeah,
But
it's been a good couple years for JRPGs. Not on consoles, unfortunately. You know, we've gotten so few of the, you know, we've complained about it for a while, but we've gotten so few of the, you know, big marquee JRPGs. But on the other side of the coin, we've been getting a lot of smaller, really good JRPGs: DS, 3DS, Vita, PSP. So, and if anybody hasn't played Persona 4 Golden, go buy that. If you have a PSP or if you have a Vita, go buy it. Jeez.
it is worth $300. Like, just buy a Vita just for that game. Who cares?
Yeah, Persona 4 is just so good. Oh man,
It's a wonderful game. But yeah, I think it's only going to get better for the RPG with all these Kickstarters coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice to see RPGs on the upswing again, and they've never gone away. They've never died, but to see them on the maybe the popular upswing, where a lot more people are talking about them, know about them, are playing them instead of like, you know, this is the only show that talks about them. You know, like sometimes it feels like that.
Well, it's like when you brought up, like, Alpha Protocol obviously isn't a JRPG, but when that game came out, it was just critically panned. It was the way people talk about Aliens Colonial Marines right now, which probably is justifiably a terrible game, but they talked about Alpha Protocol back then.
Yeah, it's a broken shooter. It's a terrible game. It's like, well, you're missing what that game is.
Exactly, and it's, I don't know. It's a really good time to be an RPG fan, I think. And
Absolutely.
I think even though the JRP releases on the main consoles are slow right now, I think we're going to see a lot of business models change and maybe some doors open up where that's not the way anymore.
Good point, yeah. All right, let's move on to an email we have here from The Floydage. He says, "Hello, sirs, Boston and Newsom. Good morrow, sir.
Hello.
Recently, I've been watching an excellent Let's Play of Skies of Arcadia's Legends on YouTube. I love Skies of Arcadia. Oh, that game is so good. Talk about a hidden gem. Not enough people played that one." He says,
Is that the Dreamcast one?
Yeah, and the Legends one was the GameCube one that came out. I never played that. I played the original, really, really tough and semi-broken Dreamcast one. He says, "I find it a great way to relive an old, awesome RPG without actually having to deal with any of the troubles of playing an old game brings myself." Fair point.
Yeah.
Plus, since I've played this game so many times already, I usually just leave it on in the background while I do other stuff. So I was wondering, have you guys ever experienced any good Let's Plays, whether video, audio, text form, etc.? I'm trying to find some more good ones to watch, but there are all just so many out there. Any thoughts would be appreciated. For text, you know, probably the Lee Alexander stuff we were just talking about for, you know, Persona 4 and Final Fantasy 7. For video, I've seen very few Let's Plays that I really enjoy. A lot of the time, I'm going to try and be fair and not overly critical, but a lot of times, if you're going to do a Let's Play, you either need to be very serious and critical, or you need to be genuinely funny. And I see a lot of Let's Plays that aren't either of those, are just sort of in this terrible quagmire in the middle. What I actually like a lot more is something that a lot of people don't know about is sort of the other side of the coin to Let's Plays, called long plays. And basically somebody will play a game without any commentary. So they were just literally playing the game and nobody's talking. It's just somebody is recording their playthrough. And I like those a lot more because you're just focusing on the game. You're not really focusing on the personality, the person playing it, the people that are playing it, which are fine for some people, but I don't derive any sort of excitement from that. So I would recommend those if you want to relive something like that. Go find a long play. Those are pretty enjoyable.
That sounds neat. And of course, there's the ever classic Giant Bomb playthrough of Persona 4.
Yep, and Chrono Trigger. I
forgot they did Chrono Trigger.
As sometimes it can be maddening because people aren't reading the screen. Get
in the freaking ship! You've left the ship behind.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, there's some of that stuff, but it is, if you like the personalities at Giant Bomb, I mean, that's going to be an either you do or you don't sort of thing.
Yeah.
The Giant Bomb Persona 4 Endurance run is, I think, 155 videos over about 100 hours, and it is, to me, it's sort of the quintessential Persona 4 playthrough. Not only is it really genuinely funny, if you like those games, or that sense of humor over there, but man, they play the hell out of that game, and they do get the true ending. So it's a really great time capsule of that game, the PS2 version.
Well, and the other fun part is the two people playing it, Gersman and Vinny, like, are not really JRPG fans. So
No.
it's kind of a joy seeing these two people come to this genre and enjoy it so much like that.
And like dive in both feet first and find that the water is just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a
yeah.
really good suggestion. And if nobody's played Chrono Trigger, you can watch it there, but you should probably play it yourself because it's one of the best JRPGs ever made.
Seriously, it's available on everything. Just go buy it.
Yeah, the DS version is
Play
the
it.
best one, easily, because it doesn't have those stupid load times from PS1 version. But other than that, yeah, I don't know if there's, I would assume that there's some sort of Let's Play ranking system out there, like a website that rates them. Maybe you can look for that, but I don't know. You're right though. There's just so many Let's Plays and long plays and all that stuff out there that I don't know how you can figure out what is better than the other, but somebody has.
I guess you just have to. You'd have to treat it like game journalists. Find a couple of them whose personalities you enjoy that you can, not necessarily agree or disagree with critically, but find that you can at least respect their critical opinions on something.
People you can at least trust.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's all our emails and tweets this week. If you would like to visit us, you can do so at pickingupthepixels.com. Email us at fans@pickingupthepixels.com or tweet us at pickingupPixels. You can find Musum at The Carousel Podcast at thecarouselpodcast.com. If you like his music in the show, you should go buy some. It is very reasonably priced and very good. Both of those things are positive. You can get it at listentomusum.com or musum.bandcamp.com. You can find my other two shows at tvgp.tv for That Video Game Podcast, where we talk about all of the games. And Dynamic Soundtrack is still out there at dynamicsoundtrack.com. If you like video game music, so do I, and I made a show about it once. I think that's it.
Leave us some comments on the Picking Up the Pixels website and on the TVGP forums. Sometimes I'm bad about responding, but I love reading them all. So.
Yeah, we definitely do read them all, especially on the forums. So it's easier for me to respond to people in the forums. So that would be my preferred method of your feedback. But you can send it anywhere you want, really. Oh, and this show's available on Stitcher now too. I should probably remember that.
Sweet.
So check this, and all three of my shows are available on Stitcher, so you can get them there. But only two of them are updated still, so whatever you want to do there. But thank you very much, Musum, for joining me again.
Pleasure as always.
And our adventure continues next month. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching on the live stream. See you next month. Bye.